The 49ers, the Bang Bang Niner gang, who's taking on the Cardinals tonight in Mexico City, NFC West divisional showdown. Favorites are 4-0 against the spread in Mexico City. Overs are 2-2. The Niners spent the week in Colorado getting used to the altitude. The Cardinals did not. Mexico City is 7,200 feet above sea level. I believe where the Niners were is like 6,800 or something. So they were kind of getting themselves ready. I don't know why the Cardinals didn't do the same thing, but I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't. Murray is out. Hopkins is questionable. Colt McCoy expected to get the start. He's 3-1 against the spread as a starter, including beating San Francisco last year. The 49ers allowed the fewest yards in the NFL, and they are undefeated right now in the NFC West. Niners money line minus 365. Yikes. And the spread is 10, which is absolutely wild to me, even as a 49ers fan. Over under, this has dropped to 42 and a half. I will say Jimmy G 1-6-1 as an over one touchdown favorite. Not the best. What do you think?
Yeah. And, I've talked about it to you many times. Kyle Shanahan is not the best at covering the spreads as a big favorite either, especially at home and on the road. So I lean Cardinals here with the points. I'm going to wait till you might as well wait till game time. This line's not coming down. If anything, it's just going to keep climbing higher. So I think it's sitting at 10 right now. I don't know if I want to bet the Cardinals, though. It's one of those games.
I totally thought you'd be on the Cardinals on this one.
Yeah, and if I do decide to bet the game, like a side here, I will end up betting the Cardinals. We look a few weeks ago, like the Texans versus the Eagles, right? It's similar kind of setup. Texans were a huge underdog. I think a 13-point dog there. Yeah. No one thought they even had a chance against the Eagles at that point in time, and they covered the game. They almost won the game. So I do think 10, 11, 12, 13, wherever this settles, is too many points for a division matchup. I feel like you kind of think that too, as you're saying, you don't want to bet. Yeah. So I kind of
here's the thing. I don't bet against the Niners, right? So I don't just take the Niners against a spread just because I'm like willing it to happen and I would love it to happen. I'm not giving the Niners 10. I'm fairly confident. I'm very confident that the Niners will win this game. I think we're a better team, and I think we're better prepared for it, having gone and practiced in high altitude. But I'm not giving him 10 points. I think that Colt McCoy has actually played a little bit better than Kyler Murray has. And I feel like that offense has been clicking. Now, the bigger question mark to me is Hopkins and if he's going to be out. But they're down, 4 offensive linemen? They're going to have a hard time stopping Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey. Niners win this game. I'm not willing to give them 10 points. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I feel like it could be one of those games where we see like the Niners up 14, 20 points like the whole game, and the Cardinals last minute, 2 minutes, they score a backdoor touchdown, cover the spread.
Okay, so you're laying off the full game, as am I. I also don't really want to touch the total on this one either. I feel like, if anything, and we talk about this on all the time, put it in a teaser, your standard 6-point teaser. You get the Niners down to -4. You can get the total up to 49 or something and get the under on that. That I would probably do. I think it's at -120, but I'm not taking a side exactly. Is there any prop bets that you're looking at?
Yeah, and this is another game too where we did it with the Chargers game 2 Sundays. What was it, last Monday or something like that? Yep. Where we said you can tease both teams, both over under 4 different bets, and you could hit all of them. I think this is another game where you could hit all of them if you do that. But I'm looking at George Kittle props and Christian McCaffrey props.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah to George Kittle. Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, obviously I don't watch, every Niner game like you do, but I feel like the Niners are at their best when George Kittle's involved in the game plan and making plays with them.
Yes. And if we're doing that, he's just a momentum changer. And I was listening to the announcers, the other week, and they're like, I feel like the 49ers game doesn't really start until Kittle gets a good reception and gets things going. And it does. It absolutely shifts everything. So I agree with you. And then I've got more on this when you're done.
And you just look, the Cardinals 31st in regards to DVOA versus opposing tight ends.
Yes.
They're number 1, though, versus opposing number 1 wide receivers. So, I don't think the game plan here is going to be let's get the ball to Deebo Samuel. I think this will be a game maybe we see Deebo Samuel more as a running back than a receiver. So yeah, I like the Kittle over 41.5 receiving yards. That's minus 119 on Caesars. I think you could take his reception prop, 4.5. I think we'll see that hit.
Three and a half. It's 3.5. It's so low.
It's okay. Sorry. Yeah. McCaffrey's is 4.5. Yeah. Kittle 3.5. Yeah. I mean, 4 catches, 41.5 yards. I see him easily going over both of those.
I'm saying this right here. Take Kittle over on everything tonight. Arizona has allowed the most targets, 9, catches, 7.5, and yards, 77.8 per game to tight ends this season. Kittle has had more than 3.5 receptions in 6 of 8 career games, including 6 straight. The Cardinals have allowed 9 of 11 tight ends to go over their receptions prop and 7 of 11 to go over their receiving yards prop. And look, tight ends who have scored touchdowns, I also like him for any time touchdown. I'm taking Kittle on absolutely everything tonight. If you look at who has scored, tight ends who have scored against Arizona, Kelsey, Waller, Juwan Johnson, starting tight ends who didn't score but had a lot of yards, Higbee, 61 and 73 yards, Fant, 45 and 96 yards, Goddard, 95 yards. Like, Kittle's going to have a day. And no one is more excited to be in Mexico City than George Kittle is either. Have a day, George Kittle. Have a day. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The Cardinals can't stop the tight end. I remember when they played the Seahawks, the Seahawks ran literally the same play the whole entire game, and they were just burning the Cardinals defense every single time. Little tight end leak out into the flats. So yeah, I'm with you there. I think Kittle has a monster game. Maybe even look to take some of his alternate receiving yards bets.
Oh my God. Yeah. There was an alternate receiving yard that I saw for him to have like 100 yards. So I think it's at plus 800. I don't know what book that's on, but that might be just a fun one to sprinkle a little bit on. I will say on the Cardinals side, and it's not posted yet. So when it comes about, go ahead and look at it. But I would take an over, depending on what it is, on Colt McCoy's pass attempts. So the Niners rank 3rd against the run. So you know that Kingsbury is going to be needing to be very aggressive with the passing game. Last week, McCoy threw for 238 yards against the Rams, who have the 5th ranked team against the run. He had 26 completions, 37 attempts. He had a 70.3 completion percentage, and he actually opened the game with 11 straight passes. So I do think that they're going to be passing the ball a lot more. And so take a look at what his, pass completions is or pass attempts are, and that might be a good one to go over. I don't know what it is yet. It's been off the board, but I'm sure as soon as he is like fully confirmed, I've seen reports saying that he is starting, but that'll come to the book soon.
Yeah, I like that one, especially when you just like when I take props, I always like to think of like how I can see the game playing out. So yeah, I don't see the Cardinals having much success on the ground versus the Niners. And I also don't see, you don't want to leave Colt McCoy like a sitting duck back there against this Niners pass rush. So I think they're going to have to rely on like little short, quick passes, screens, little slant. Yep. So yeah, the over completions, over pass attempts, great bet, great angle there.
All right. Any other thing you're looking at for this game?
Just McCaffrey. I'm going to go McCaffrey over receiving yards.
Run CMC?
Yeah. Run CMC, baby. That's it. McCaffrey receiving yards, 35.5 on Caesars. It's minus 127. His catches is 4.5 receptions. So I like both of those too. The Cardinals are 30th in the NFL in regards to DVOA versus opposing running backs coming out of the backfield. So I just think the Niners offense is poised for a big game here. I think McCaffrey and Kittle will get involved, and they should get it done.
I agree. I'm also going to take Jimmy G over 1.5 rush yards. And this might seem, I think the Niners are going to win. So of course you got to deal with the victory kneel or something at the end of the game. But Jimmy has over 2 rush yards in 3 of his last 4 games. He has never had less than 2 in his career against Arizona. In fact, the last 3 games he had 3, 9, and 7 yards. So I just feel like that's kind of just like a fun one too. But again, you got to watch out for the victory kneels. Okay. So
tell you what, if I'm Jimmy G, obviously these guys are getting paid millions, so they're not doing this, but 1.5 yards, like why would you not tell your friends to go slam that and just one run, you're good.
One run. Exactly. You could pick up 5, you pick up 7 or whatever. And he, at one point I was looking at his stats, he had 12 against Arizona. Now that's, I believe, when he was a Patriot, but still I feel like 1.5 is disrespectful. You know what I mean? And I think he can absolutely get this. And again, he has never had under 2 in his career versus Arizona. And he's had like 6, 3, 9, 12, this season. There was one game where he had 1 this season, I think 1 negative number, but for the most part, I don't know. I think it's a good one. So I would agree.